Here's the thing. Birds are real, and it's mean to say that they're not. We are back. We're getting close to the end. It's almost the end of the season.
Don't fret. We will do a season 3. We're contract bound.
Yeah. We have a sponsor for season 3.
Yeah. But season 2 is coming to a close, and it's kind of flown by.
It really has. This is not the last episode. There will still be one more. Big, exciting episode. There will be a guest on that episode.
A special guest.
Special guest on that episode.
Reminiscent to our season finale last season.
Yeah, exactly. This is what we do to celebrate the end of a season. But this episode is the penultimate episode.
That is the definition of penultimate. Proud of you.
This is a birding podcast, if you did not know. If you somehow made it to the end of season 2 and you go, what is this podcast about? Well, it's about birds.
It's about birds and anything bird adjacent.
Bird adjacent, yes. We will do the things that we always do. We will go over our field notes. We will go over our hoot topics. We will end with a main topic, a bit of a different main topic this time around. But
we think you will all enjoy it. It's fun and whimsical.
Yeah, audience participation encouraged, even though this isn't live.
Chad, is this real?
Why don't we go ahead and hop on in to our field notes? What kind of birds have we seen since we last recorded? It's actually been a while since we last recorded.
It has. We kind of recorded the last few episodes in kind of quick succession there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've only been out birding once or twice since we last recorded. We checked out a new spot. Called Morris Park.
Morris Park. We mentioned it on the last episode.
I mentioned scoping it out myself because Sam was unavailable. And then I woke up that morning. It was like 5:30 in the morning. I was like, yeah, I'm going back to bed. So I did not scope it out. But we both went this weekend together, and it was pretty cool.
It was. We were hoping to see a pileated woodpecker. That was kind of our big goal.
That was the reach we were going for.
But we went, and it was way different than I expected. Like very wooded, dark, like naturey. Very, very similar to hikes that I did growing up in New England, but not so much out here in the city. So it was kind of a fun, not necessarily a new experience, but like nostalgic, I guess is what you'd say.
Yeah, maybe a new experience in Philly. It's pretty different than John Hines, which is a great place. As you know, we go there all the time.
Yeah.
But we're kind of on a pretty well-trafficked path, right? There's woods, of course, but we're not like surrounded by woods. There's a lot of open area, a lot of open air.
The path is very wide.
Exactly.
Lots of foot traffic, lots of people step it. But here it really felt like we were just walking through the woods.
Yeah, very thickly wooded. We went early in the morning, like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and sunrise nowadays is at 6 a.m. So the sun was out. Yep. And it was very dark in there.
So dark, yeah. It was pretty incredible.
It was great. It was like Sam said, really felt like we were back in like those New England woods that we know all so well. Mm-hmm. It was so dark that we were like off base on our camera settings. We have a pretty good idea on what we want our camera settings to be because we typically go out during the same light conditions, either early in the morning or in the evening, at the same places. But yeah, we really had to troubleshoot a bit here. We thought we were exposing properly, and then we went to go look at our photos where they were very underexposed, very dark. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was a fun challenge. Yeah,
it was interesting. Didn't really get any good photos, at least on my end, but nice time birding. We did not see our pileated woodpecker, but we did see a couple of like technically lifers, maybe a bird I think I'd seen before but hadn't written down, but a wood thrush.
Yeah, wood thrush, super cool. I already had it in my life list. I think we have seen it before at John Hines, but not a super common bird that we may have seen last year. Very pretty call, though.
Really pretty call. It's described on Merlin as like a pretty flute-like melody, and that's exactly what it is. So it's one of those birds that very frequently pops up if you're recording on Merlin. There's a couple that, at least when we go out, it says that it always hears, and that like I never actually believe it. because the call is quite similar to a robin, I do think it mistakes a robin's call for a wood thrush sometimes. But nice to finally like confirm, like, yes, this is a wood thrush and a wood thrush call.
Yeah, like I said, we did get some photos of it. Nothing super great, but definitely enough to know that we saw it.
Mm-hmm.
We also saw a lifer for both of us.
Yeah.
A black-throated blue warbler.
Yeah, which, I mean, it sounds very cool, and it is very cool. I really like the way it looked. It's a nice bird.
A very small bird. We saw just like a flash of it, and like I said, there was a lot of foliage, a lot of places for birds to hide. So we were worried we missed it.
Mm-hmm.
But we did get some photos of it, and we were able to deduce that it was a black and white warbler.
Yep.
Sorry, not a blue-throated black warbler.
Yeah, blue-throated black warbler.
I had it in my life list already.
No, a black-throated blue warbler.
A black-throated blue warbler.
Yep.
I had it in my life list already from back when I was just adding things to my life list that I heard, which is totally fine if you want to do that.
Yeah.
But now I'm glad to like actually add it in as a bird that I have seen.
Yeah, nice. I can't wait to do that with the cackling goose when I finally see it. I still haven't figured out how to remove birds from my life list.
I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, impossible.
So yeah, 2 lifers on just like a random morning in a new area. I think that's great.
I agree. I think it was really nice.
We will definitely be back though in hopes
will.
of seeing that pileated woodpecker.
Yeah. Kind of the big exciting birding news from in between these last 2 episodes was at John Hines there was a white-faced ibis, which has never been reported in Pennsylvania before, I believe, or in Philadelphia, at least.
Yeah, if you look at a range map of it, more frequents the western coast, Mexico, South America area. So it was totally a surprise to see one in Philadelphia of all places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was interesting. It was mixed in with this group of like 20 or 30 glossy ibises, which, if you look up a picture of both of them, they look almost identical. They're like the exact same size, mostly the exact same plumage. The white-faced ibis does, as the name might suggest, have a white face and kind of this red eye, whereas the glossy ibis has more of like a black eye, but it's really hard to see that from like where we are compared to the birds.
Yeah, because we were relatively close, but these birds are smaller than you think if compared to just like a photo you see. So to see those very small differences in their face plumage, a lot of birders were also telling us that the white-faced ibis's legs are redder, but they're shorebirds, they're in the mud a lot, so all the legs were kind of muddy, so it's hard to use that as an identifier.
It was really hard to say, and so there were a lot of us out there kind of following this flock around, and no one was quite sure. Like, there had been a white-faced reported earlier in the day, so we were all kind of looking for it. And so we were there with our big cameras. There were some people there with their like really nice scopes, and we were all trying to figure out if there was in fact a white-faced ibis there. And people started saying that there was. They, added it to our Discord, added it to eBird. But I was not convinced. I didn't think that I actually saw the white-faced ibis. But I came home, I looked at some pictures, and I got one picture that had the white-faced ibis, just like I happened to get it with its like red eye, its white face. So, and then other pictures showed up on the Discord, much nicer pictures that were very clear and like, oh yeah, definitely we saw that. But
yeah, like Sam said, the birds were super far away, so it was hard to be 100% confident in the field without a scope. And some of the birders that we were around, they did let us see into their scopes, which is very nice. But yeah, having that confirmation, taking a closer look at our photos was definitely great. And that's a totally surprise lifer that I never would have expected to see around here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was awesome.
Very cool. We saw lots of nice birds that day, actually. There were talks of a cerulean warbler at John Hines. We didn't see that. We didn't hear it. But we did see 2 kinds of orioles. We saw a Baltimore and an orchard oriole, which was pretty fun. And a green heron. We've both seen green herons before. I have been really wanting to get like a nice picture of a green heron because they're a little slippery, kind of hard to get good pictures of, at least last year when I was trying. And we saw a couple. They were up in trees, and while I don't think I necessarily got a good green heron photo, I got some pictures that I think are pretty good that have like green heron silhouettes. So I think those might turn out pretty well.
Yeah. Speaking of John Hines, going back to last episode, people have started seeing some ruby-throated hummingbirds there.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, I mean, there's only one more episode left in the season, but hopefully we have some field notes for you next time that we've seen or taken some nice photos of ruby-throated hummingbirds. And if we don't, be on the lookout on our Instagrams for potential cool birds we'll see over the summer when the podcast is up and running.
Yeah, our podcast will be in torpor. If you
yes.
if you know what that means, listen to last episode if you don't. But we will still be active, and we will be taking pictures, so make sure you follow us. Make sure you like the pictures. That really motivates us to keep posting pictures.
Also maybe gets the word out about the podcast and stuff
exactly.
too. You never know how Instagram works.
Yeah, the algorithm is all-knowing, all-powerful. We have also been starting to try to take some videos with our cameras, so be on the lookout for reels, probably on the official podcast account.
All right, and with that, moving on to our hoot topics.
Mm-hmm. We first have a hoot topic from longtime listener Dan. Dan says, what are good ways to get non-birding friends and family to try the hobby? And this seems like a timely question, given that, well, today is Mother's Day, but the pod will be coming out on not Mother's Day. But you may have mothers or family members or friends who do not share your interest in birding, and you'd like to get them to share your interest in birding. I would like to clarify, first and foremost, that my mother is interested in birding, so I don't have this problem personally, but I assume other people might. Maybe not everyone that you know is into birding.
Yeah, I think, well, just to be objective and just to be objective, I think the best way to get someone into birding is having them listen to the Birds Are Real podcast.
I think I've been told, we've done some studies, and that has come back as the most effective way.
Yeah, scientifically backed, peer reviewed, all of that. Mm-hmm. Birds Are Real podcast, best way to get into birding.
Best way to get into anything, actually. If you're feeling like you're in a rut and you need to get into, pottery or something, I've heard that if you listen to this podcast, it helps you with that.
Yeah, best way to reduce anxiety. Mm-hmm. Best way to, jump higher.
Yeah. Your teeth get healthier, actually, if you listen to this.
Enamel gets rebuilt.
I hear the tariffs don't actually affect you if you listen to this podcast. So
I think I've heard that recently too, and that's huge, definitely.
That's the first thing we'd recommend.
Right. Second thing we'd recommend is if you are as an avid listener of the Birds Are Real podcast, seemingly you are into birds, right? Maybe you have gone birding by yourself, or you've been a part of a bird walk. But yeah, get a group of friends together and be like, hey, we're gonna go outside and we're gonna look for some birds.
Yeah,
I think that's a great way to spend a day together.
Yeah, you can also be a little sneaky about it. You can get them into birding without them realizing that they're getting into birding. A little guerrilla bird fair over here. Here's what you do is you actually just need to be a little bit annoying, right? But not too annoying, just a little bit. When you're outside with someone, or you see a bird at the window, just every time you see one, say, hey, what bird do you think that is? Yeah, what bird do you think that is?
Get their mind primed for birding.
Because then they'll see a bird and they'll be like, I don't know. And you just say, oh, can you look it up? What bird is that? And so then they'll be like, okay, what does this bird look like? It's brown, it's got some spots, whatever. Then the next time they see that, you say, what bird is that? They'll look at it and be like, oh, that's the house sparrow we were talking about the other day. As soon as you know it, you're going to be out and about. You'll hear a call off in the distance, and your friend or family member will be like, wow, the white-faced ibis is flying nearby. How exciting. And they're a birder now.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I never really considered birds until birding was presented to me, and now I'm here. So people just need that foot in the door to birding, right? And you could be that foot in the door, and it could change their entire life.
Yeah.
Not even being hyperbolic about that.
No, seriously. Just if you have someone that you think might get into birding, or even if you don't think they'll get into birding, if you just want someone to accompany you while you bird, just text them, be like, hey, want to go walk at this park with me or whatever, and just like point out the birds when you're walking. Be like, hey, look at that bird. Hey, look at that bird. What bird do you think that is? It's probably going to work. People generally enjoy talking to someone about something that they are passionate about, right? If you show that you have like passion or interest in a certain subject, most people will like enjoy talking to you about that.
People kind of gravitate toward that kind of thing.
And now it's pretty fun. We've both talked about this actually, where a lot of our like friends, family, coworkers, if they see a bird, they think, oh, you know who would like this? Keish and Sam. They'll text us, be like, hey, what bird do you think this is? Or like, hey, I saw this bird. And that's pretty fun.
Yeah, this reminds me, I should have mentioned this in the field notes. My cousin texted me a photo of a pileated woodpecker. She was like, hey, I saw this cool bird, and I thought I should show you. And I kind of freaked out. I was like, oh, she saw a pileated woodpecker. I haven't even seen one yet. Happy for you. A little jealous.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's super cool. And once again, this is all secondary to introducing people to the Birds Are Real podcast.
Yeah.
That's first and foremost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Like, don't point out any birds that you see until they've listened to like at least one season of the podcast.
Yeah. Just to be clear there. Mm-hmm. If you have a roommate or something and they're going to bed, just play the podcast out loud. They're asleep. You know, they could have like a.
It's like Inception, right?
Yeah.
Get into their dreams.
You could like brainwash. Nah.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, yeah, great question, Dan.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. I hope you get all of your friends and family into birding, and by proxy, the Birds Are Real podcast. I do want to clarify something that I said last week on the podcast. I said that we accept lifers by proximity. I meant to say by proxy. Those are two different words. Didn't realize it at the time. But yeah, if you see a lifer and you tell us about it, I accept that as a lifer for me. So I have, in fact, seen a pileated woodpecker. Thank you very much, Keisha's cousin.
All right. There you have it. Moving on, we have a question from Peach. If birds had to work real jobs, which job bird pairings do you think would be the best fit? What bird would be a teacher? What bird would be a construction worker? A finance bro? You get the idea.
I do get the idea. So the first bird that I think comes to mind, this isn't maybe the most creative selection, but if you've listened to our past episodes, specifically the This Old Nest episode, the bowerbird, I think, would be an excellent construction worker or architect.
That's so true.
They kind of have some wild ideas and pretty incredible vision, but really great at building homes. I think they would be an effective construction worker.
All right, so a bird that would be a good finance bro. I initially thought a corvid, something smart, but then it's finance bro. You don't really need to be
No, that's
smart.
way too smart for a finance bro.
So it's like, a corvid would have like a superior job. So for a finance bro, I was thinking, you still need to be a little smart. So something like a pigeon.
Yeah,
a rock pigeon. Mm-hmm. A lot of them are in New York City. A lot of finance bros in New York City. I think that works out.
There you go. In theory, maybe a good firefighter could be a pelican, because they could really scoop up a whole bunch of water and kind of dump it like those planes that's put out wildfires.
Yeah, I think that's a good option. Kind of a niche job here. Those scuba divers that rescue people or like salvage goods after a ship's been wrecked.
Yeah, very familiar.
Yeah, so I think the macaroni penguin would do a great job at that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Why the macaroni specifically?
I picked a random penguin species. I don't know which one dives the deepest or can hold its breath the longest, but macaroni came to mind first.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hungry.
I guess if you you want to be saved by a diver, you want something that's pretty noticeable. Those eyebrows probably like beacons of hope.
Ooh, that's true.
While you're drowning, right?
Yeah.
I think for my last bird job pairing, I'm going to go with a voice actor. A very important job that we don't think about very much. But I think I'm going to go with the gray catbird, who would be a good voice actor. Because they are quite impressive mimics. But the thing about a voice actor is, if it's someone who's very famous, or like a really famous actor or celebrity who's doing voice acting, it's a little distracting. You don't believe that they're playing another character because it just sounds like that actor. Mm-hmm. But if you have a voice actor, most of the time you don't really know the name of the person. You just might recognize the voice. And so I think the gray catbird slots in a little better than the more well-known mimics like the northern mockingbird, blue jay, starling, parrot,
All right, well, that's interesting because I kind of went in a similar vein. Not a voice actor, but just a translator.
Yeah.
That's a job.
Right. Which bird would be good at that?
I was thinking an African gray parrot.
Oh, yeah. They got those nice fleshy tongues. They can enunciate quite well.
Yes, very true. Again, no real reason I picked African gray parrot instead of any other parrot. It's just what came to mind.
Yeah, just trying to be specific here for our fans,
Yeah.
They expect specificity.
They expect us to be expert ornithologists.
Yes, we are, by the way.
We're not.
No.
We're pretty good.
But we're close.
I don't know if we're close either, but... All right, well, thanks, Peach, for that hoot topic.
Yeah, let us know what you think the best bird job pairing might be. What did we forget? We might have forgotten some, given that we're not actually qualified ornithologists.
And you have one episode left in season 2 to get your hoot topics in. So if you're holding on to some hoot topics and you haven't sent us an email yet, if it's in your draft and you're just worried, send it in because you may not have another chance until season 3.
Yeah, and who knows when that's going to be.
Yeah, we are contract bound to do it, though.
Yeah,
so.
By our sponsor.
Yep. All right, I'll let Sam go into the main topic here and explain the rules that we have in place.
Yeah, rules, because our main topic this week is a game in which we will be competing and a game in which you all can compete against us if you'd like. But I've mentioned on the podcast these trivia cards that I have that I use to end my work meetings every morning. I've asked Keish a couple of questions from them, but I think we're going to really go into it this time. We're going to have a good old-fashioned trivia game card battle royale game. So, we're going to read some trivia to each other. We're going to get the answers right, hopefully, or wrong in Keish's case.
Wait, what?
I'm going to get them right. You're going to get them wrong.
Okay,
and
sounds
then I'm
good.
going to win.
Well, okay, I will say, Sam works 5 days a week.
I do.
And then that means he's going through 5 cards a week.
It's been reduced to 3 times a week.
Okay, 3 times a week. He's got half of these cards memorized, I'm sure, and then he probably reads them to go to bed at night too. So he's probably got all of them memorized, just saying.
There are 400 of these cards, and I've been doing it at my work for maybe 6 months. That has not been 400 work days, I'll tell you that much. So I have not. These are all new to me.
It's like halfway.
All right. So here's the rules of the game. Each card has 2 questions on it. One that's easier, one that's harder. We'll always start with the easier question. If you get that right, it's worth 1 point. You can then choose to go on to the harder question, regardless of if you get the easier one right. The harder question will be worth 2 points, but if you get it wrong, you subtract a point from your score. So there's a bit of a risk, a bit of gambling.
So in other words, if you get your easy question right, and then your hard question right, you're up 3 points.
Exactly.
If you get your easy question right and your hard question wrong, you're back down to 0.
Yep.
And if you get your easy question wrong and stop at that, you're nothing. You're 0. And if you get your easy question wrong and your hard question wrong, you're down to -1.
Yep. But you can stop if you get your easy question right. You can stop, just take the 1 point.
Okay, cool.
And the cards will kind of go, the easier to hard question will be in the same category. So if you luck out on the easy one, you don't think you have a chance with the harder one, you can stop there.
Oh, they're in the same category. That's good to know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which you already know because you've read all these cards.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So,
but yeah, feel free to play along, pause the podcast, get a pen and paper out, have fun with it.
Yeah. If you beat us, I won't be impressed because you have double the opportunity that each of us has to get a question right.
That's true.
But still, tell us if you beat us.
Let's say first to 20 points wins.
Sure. And if that takes a really long time, we'll just stop it when we want to stop it. All right. First category for you, birds in culture. Subcategory, birds in poetry.
Okay.
I think you might have this one.
All right.
What bird famously comes tapping and rapping at the narrator's chamber door in a poem by Edgar Allan Poe?
Oh, I would hope I would get this one, given that I've read the poem. Mm-hmm. It's the Raven.
It is the Raven. Would you like to go to the second question?
Birds and culture. I'm trying to think of other birds and culture that I know. I can think of a few, but I just want to get something on the board.
Okay.
All right, so I'm just going to stay with the one. Out of curiosity, though, what's the question?
Out of curiosity, the question is, according to John McCrae's World War I poem, In Flanders Fields, what birds were still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below? The nightingales, the larks, the robins, or the doves?
Nightingales.
The larks.
The larks. Okay.
Good call.
Well, I'm glad I skipped that one.
All right.
It's a point for me.
Yep.
On the board. All right, Sam, you ready for this?
I am. What's the category?
All right, the category is bird anatomy and physiology.
Okay.
Specifically, bird bones.
Bird bones. Okay.
All right, the easier question is true or false? This guy's already getting easy questions, 50-50 chance. Birds' knees bend in the opposite direction from human knees.
Okay, here's actually my worry here. I believe the answer is true. That's not my official guess. Because, like, if you look at a bird, like, yes, the answer is yes. But I think technically that knee might actually be its ankle, and the knee might be higher up and you don't see it, so it actually bends in the same way. But I think I might just be making that up, so I'm going to say true. They do bend in the opposite way.
Actual answer is false.
Oh, I was right.
You were right, actually, like, on point. It says false. What looks to us like their knee is actually their ankle joint.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's very upsetting, but I'm going to go to the second because I got to get some points.
You're going to go for the harder one.
I'm going for the hard. Got to do it.
Okay. And if you get this right, you're up +2. Mm-hmm. If you get it wrong, you're -1.
-1.
All right. The harder question is, birds can lock their toes in a secure grip. What adaptation helps them to do this? A, the tendons in their feet have a locking mechanism, like a cable tie. B, the neutral position of their feet is closed. Neutral in quotation marks.
Sure.
C, their feet are covered with microscopic hooks and spines. And D, they can increase the blood pressure to their feet.
I don't think it's the hooks and spines ones, because I think that's like spiders, but...
It's like that scene from Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably why I think that, huh? Yeah. The rest of them sound convincing to me. I'm going to say B, the neutral position is the closed.
Of their feet is closed. Incorrect. The answer is actually A. The tendons in their feet have a locking mechanism like a cable tie.
Well, that's bad news for me. Inauspicious start.
Yeah, this is a great start for me, folks.
Okay, 1 to -1 after one round here. Up next for you, bird names.
Okay.
Colorful name origins. 2 North American birds derived their names from the colorful regalia of Catholic Church officials. Which 2 species are they of the following? So it'll be 2 of these. A, Blackburnian warbler. B, northern cardinal. C, prothonotary warbler. Or D, phinopepla.
All right, well, listen here. I don't know much about the Catholic Church. I know some recent stuff has been going on. And some of that stuff has to do with cardinals, like the northern cardinal. But I'm pretty sure the regalia is... Actually, now I'm, like, tripping up. I don't know if the regalia is red or yellow. I think it's yellow. I don't know what this last thing is anyway. But I think if it's yellow, I'll go with the prothonotary warbler and whatever D is.
The phinopepla?
Yeah.
It is the prothonotary warbler, that's correct, but it is the northern cardinal.
What?
That's where it gets its name.
It's red and yellow?
Yeah, I think somewhere red, somewhere yellow.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's a tricky question.
So, unfortunately, that's 0 points for you there.
Okay.
Would you like to go on to the harder
question? I thought
question?
the cardinal thing would have been a funny coincidence there. I'll go for the harder question.
Okay. This one is not multiple choice. It's kind of a long form answer.
All right, I take it back.
Many birds with specific place names like Philadelphia vireo and Cape May warbler are named for where they were first collected by Western scientists. Baltimore orioles, however, are an exception to this rule. Where does their name come from?
This is a doozy. Where does Baltimore, where does the word Baltimore come from?
I'm not going to tell you that.
No, I know. I'm talking to myself.
Yeah.
Balta, like the Baltic Sea, the Baltic area, and then more of the Baltic area. What was the question? Where does their name come from?
Where does the name come from of the Baltimore Oriole?
Well, I think they're a North American bird, which is like, I don't know. They're from the Baltic area in Europe.
Incorrect. The name comes from Lord Baltimore. The bird shares its black and orange colors with the coat of arms of Cecil Calvert, Lord Baltimore, who sponsored the colony that would later become the city of the same name.
All right.
So, back down to 0 for you.
Did you think that one would have been easy? The Baltimore question?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, not at all.
All right. Not a good round for me there. But here we go for Sam. The easier question. How many flightless bird species can be found natively in North America today?
Ooh, I know the answer to this one. If you don't know the answer to this one, go back to season 1, Around the World with 9 flightless birds. The answer is 0.
Mm-hmm.
No flightless birds in North America.
You got that.
All right, well, I'm feeling hot. Let's go double.
All right. So the harder question is, North America did have one native species of flightless bird, but it was driven to extinction in the mid-19th century. Which bird was it? A, the North American rhea. B, the great auk. C, the passenger pigeon. Or D, the heath hen.
Interesting. Well, the passenger pigeon did go extinct, but it is not flightless. In fact, is quite flighted. I know that the rhea is the flightless bird of South America. I do know that the great auk is a bird that went extinct, but I think auks can fly. So I'm going to say the North American rhea.
Unfortunately,
No.
the answer is the great auk.
No way.
All right, so that's a +1 and a -1. So
Okay.
now we're both back to 0.
No, I'm still at -1.
Oh, you
overall
are?
on the day.
Okay.
Okay.
So remember when we said first to 20 wins?
Yeah, we're probably going to go with 10 or something. Maybe.
We'll see how it goes.
We're
I feel
about to get
we need
hot.
Yeah, we're about to get hot.
We're about
for
to get
sure.
hot. I wish I got this one, because this one I would be able to slay. All right, here's your question. Birds in culture, parentheses, birds in comics.
Okay.
What is the name of the small yellow bird in Peanuts who frequently appears supporting or assisting Snoopy the dog? Is it A, Tweety, B, Droopy, C, Pigpen, or D, Woodstock?
Okay, I would not have gotten it without the multiple choice. Woodstock sounds familiar. I'll go with Woodstock.
It is Woodstock. Right. I love Peanuts, and I love especially Woodstock. Do you want to go to the harder one?
What's the subcategory? Birds in comics?
Yep.
Do I know birds in comics?
I don't know.
I feel like these hard questions are kind of hard.
Yeah, often they are.
All right, I'm just gonna stay on the board. So
okay.
I'll stay with the one really quickly. What is it though?
Sam Wilson, the first black superhero in mainstream comic books at the time of his 1969 debut, dons a mechanical wingsuit and fights crime under what name? Red Wing, Black Canary, Falcon, or Eagle?
I would have got this. Falcon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, hey, points on the board is points on the board.
Points on the board.
So that's a 1 for you. You're back up to 1.
Your category is bird anatomy and physiology. Bird bones again.
Bird bones again.
Let's see if you can redeem yourself.
Lock in.
All right. Birds are famous for their hollow bones. How does the weight of a typical flying bird skeleton compare to that of a land-bound mammal of the same size? A is 50% lighter. B is 25% lighter. C is the same weight. And D is about 10% heavier.
Okay, well, it's not the same or heavier. So, what was it, 50% lighter or 25% lighter are the other options?
Those are A and B. Yep. 50 is A, B is 25.
So, if something is 25% lighter, then it's heavier than if it were 50% lighter, right?
50% lighter is more light.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Then 25% is
less light. Correct.
Okay, I'm going to go with 50%.
This is something we're going to need to look into. They're about the same weight.
What do you mean?
How does the weight of a typical flying bird skeleton compare to that of a land-bound mammal of the same size? They're about the same weight.
But they're hollow. The bones are hollow. What?
They're about the same weight.
Okay, I think this is rigged against me. I'm going to the harder question, though, because I need points.
All right. We will be sure to look into that, because that is quite interesting. I've also, if presented with this question, would have went lighter. The harder question. To reduce weight, birds have evolved a simpler skeleton with fewer bones. Humans have...
So they have less weight.
Humans have 30 separate bones in each arm and hand. How many bones does a bird have in its wing? A, 5, B, 11, C, 18, D, 26.
Well, as a registered ornithologist, I know the answer to this one quite well. How many bones do humans have?
30.
30?
And all of these are less than 30.
Okay, that's good.
5, 11, 18, or 26.
5 seems excessively small. And I know that birds do kind of have fingers, so I think it's more than 5. What was it? 11, 18, 26 were the other ones? 11.
You got it.
Hey, all right. We're back up to 1. Tied 1-1.
All right.
I see, we're cooking now. I told you. All right. Bird names, parentheses, folk names. Here's the easier question. Which family of birds are also known as butcher birds, an allusion to the practice of hanging meat from hooks? A. New World vultures. B. Shrikes. C. Corvids. Or D. Falcons.
My answer is going to be shrikes. But I thought there was a bird called a butcher bird.
There is.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a type of shrike.
Oh, it's a type of shrike. Mm-hmm. Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, so bird names, and what did you say the subcategory was?
Folk names.
Sure. We'll go for it.
Go for the harder? All right. Which pair of birds was known as the black minister and white minister for their plumage, which suggests a white vest worn with a mantle of the named color? A. Great black-backed gulls and glaucous gulls. B. Spruce grouse and ptarmigan. C. Bobolink and snow bunting. Or D. Gray jay and yellow-billed magpie.
All right, I should not have gone for this question. All right, I don't think some gulls are gonna have some cool names like black and white minister, so I'm not gonna go with that. I don't think it's the bobolink or the was the pairing for it?
Snow bunting.
Snow bunting. On the grouse and the magpie, I'm gonna go with B. The spruce grouse and the ptarmigan.
It's A, the great black-backed and glaucous gulls.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's a cool nickname for some gulls.
Doesn't seem like they deserve it.
All right, so I stay at 1.
Stay at 1.
All right, Sam is also at 1. Category is bird behavior, flight. Many raptors use a behavior called kiting to help them forage from the air. What is kiting? A. Harrying prey to exhaustion by chasing them from above. B. Flying into a headwind to generate lift. C. Striking and then retreating to injure prey and weaken them. Or D. Flying too high to be seen.
I'm going to say flying into a headwind to generate lift.
Good old Bernoulli's principle, you got it?
All right. Oh boy. I feel like I know about this one. I got a point. I could take a lead and just take my point. I guess I'm going to do that. I'm going to take my point. I'll be at 2.
Okay, cool. You want to hear
I do want to hear it,
Hear
though.
the harder one?
Mm-hmm.
Why do red-tailed hawks have large, broad wings relative to their body size? A. To be more maneuverable. B. To soar and glide more efficiently. C. To show off their plumage and mating displays. Or D. All of the above.
Oh. Well, if there's an all of the above, I feel like that's normally the answer. But in this case, I want to say it's just B. To do their... to be able to soar better or whatever.
Yeah, you would have had it.
Oh, man. Okay. Well...
Bet on yourself, man.
I know. Now I'm definitely going to every single time. Here we go. Bird anatomy and physiology. Subcategory is eggs. Here we go. How often do birds typically lay an egg during the breeding season? A. Once a day. B. Twice a day. C. 3 times a day. Or D. An egg every 3 days.
Just for any bird? I feel like this is too general of a question.
Yep. That's what it says.
What? I feel like it very much depends on what bird. I'll go with once a day.
It is once a day.
All right. We take those.
There you go. Would you like to do the harder question?
I'm just thinking of the math here, right? I feel like it's more advantageous just to go for them.
Probably, right?
As long as I get them right.
Yeah.
Very good math. Very good
I think
analysis.
that is
there.
good math.
As long as I get them right, it's good.
You took
to
a
go for more.
statistics class, didn't you?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think Rochelle and I took that same statistics class. Yeah.
I think so.
All right. Yeah, we'll go for it.
Okay.
I think I know about eggs.
Here we go. Why do ducks and geese lay more eggs than sparrows and finches?
See, so what does the first question have to do with anything?
Well, I think maybe they lay it once a day for a longer period of time.
Oh,
right?
maybe. True.
A, they can swim instead of flying so they can carry heavier eggs. B, selective breeding by humans. C, their young can feed themselves right away so the parents can care for the more young. Or D, larger body size means more space for eggs.
This is a good question. Can they feed for themselves right after birth? I think they might be able to. And I know sparrows and them can't. Yeah, I'll go with that one.
That's correct.
All right,
Yep.
cool.
All right, that's a 3-pointer, our first 3-pointer of the day.
So I'm up to 4.
Up to 4 points.
Where are you guys at? Hopefully you're getting all these right.
Yeah.
That means you're listening really well, even though we're not getting them all right.
Yeah. we were never going to get them right.
All right, let's pick your one.
Okay.
All right. Category is bird names, unusual common names.
That seems like an oxymoron, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
it seems like it. Which wetland birds, represented by 2 species in North America, derive their common name from a Latin word meaning little hen?
Ooh. I think I just know this one.
All right, do you want the multiple choice?
I do want it, though.
All right. A, chickadees, B, gallinules, C, pheasants, or D, gannets.
Great. I was worried that it was going to be moorhens as one of the choices because I didn't know the answer there, but I believe it's gallinules.
Yeah, you're right.
All
You got
right.
it.
The common and the purple.
Mm-hmm. Which you've seen the purple, I haven't.
I have, yep. I saw it in Florida.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we've both seen the common gallinule here.
We have.
All right. Do you wanna go for the harder one?
I have to now, yeah.
All right. Many odd common names of birds are based on sounds, but some are so mysterious that their true meaning is lost to history. Which North American bird's common name is of totally unknown provenance, save for its language of origin, French? A, bulbul, B, albatross, C, chickadee, or D, verdin?
Okay. Well, I know where chickadee comes from because that's just the sound the chickadee makes. I've never heard of D. What was it, verdin?
Verdin, Verdin.
I mean, that sounds vaguely French.
Bulbul is B-U-L.
That sounds quite French, but that's just because it's really hard to say. Bulbul. Albatross feels like too much of like a real word, you know? I'm going to go with the bulbul.
Very close. The verdin.
No. Oh, boy. Okay. Well, I'm still at 2 points then. 4-2. Here we go. Bird behavior. Flight.
Okay.
I think you might be getting these ones. Which of the following birds is known to fly in a V-shaped formation? The turkey vulture, the European starling, the common tern, or the Canada goose?
Go with the Canada goose.
That is correct. Would you like the harder question?
Yeah.
All right. Why do some birds fly in a V-shaped formation when traveling long distances? A, to confuse predators. B, to enhance communication with other flock members. C, to save energy by riding the wake from each other's wings. Or D, scientists still do not know. Now here's the problem. This doesn't have the actual answer, which is that the apex goose is at the front.
Yeah, I'll go with C.
That's correct. Yep. If you missed that one, Keish did a full episode on migration, and these exact questions were in it. So
All the way, episode 2, all the way in season 1.
yeah, a lot of callbacks in these guys here. All right, 7-2. I'm kind of sweating right now.
All right. I will say I did get a little lucky on that one. But, hey, what are you going to do?
What are you gonna do?
All right, so good category for you here.
Yeah.
Birds and culture,
Okay.
birds and movies.
All right. Well, if I get this wrong, I've just disgraced my entire education.
Take your degree away.
Yeah.
All right, easier question. What is the quoted price to feed the birds a bag of crumbs in Disney's 1964 musical film Mary Poppins?
Great.
There's no multiple choice.
There's no multiple choice?
There's no multiple choice.
Oh my god. Okay. That's horrible. Okay.
Feed the bird a bag of crumbs.
Feed the bird a bag of crumbs. What is the quoted price to feed a bird a bag of crumbs? Does anything rhyme with that?
Yeah, it's a musical.
It's a musical. I don't know. Is it a dime?
2 pence.
2 pence?
Is Mary Poppins British?
Yeah, I guess so. Yep. I should have factored that in, huh?
All right.
Okay. Well, that doesn't lose me any points at least.
True.
I'm going for the hard one.
I'll tell you, this is a different movie.
Great.
One I think you've watched.
Huge.
You must have watched.
I mean, I've watched Mary Poppins, and it's not for a long time.
All right. What were the large-eyed, round-bodied birds featured on the planet Ahch-To in Star Wars Episode 7, The Last Jedi called?
Aha, they were porgs, I believe.
Oh yeah, you got that.
They were actually
Huge nerd.
They had to put those in because they filmed those scenes in Iceland, and there were so many puffins around that they couldn't digitally remove them all.
Oh, so the porgs are puffins.
The porgs are just puffins. They just threw a little coat of paint on them in the post-processing.
Good to know.
All right.
So that's 2 points on the board for you.
Okay, I'm up to 4. 7-4. Here we go. Bird anatomy and physiology. Measuring up is the category. On average, does an American robin weigh less than, more than, or about the same as a 12-ounce can of soda?
Can of soda. It's pretty heavy. I think it weighs less than.
It is less than. About 3 ounces less.
Nice.
But apparently the bones weigh the same.
What's the subcategory?
Measuring up.
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay, this will get you the win. If you get
We're
it
going
right.
to 10?
I think so. Didn't we say that?
For the win.
On average, does a tricolored heron weigh less than, more than, or about the same as a 12-ounce can of soda?
A heron weighs more than.
About the same.
No way!
Yep.
Oh my god, because their bones are hollow, so they're lighter.
Apparently, it doesn't matter.
Dang, I thought I had that.
That's honestly surprising to me. I feel like the difference between an American robin and a tricolored heron is more than 3 ounces. But
yeah, think about it like that.
Yeah.
A tricolored heron and a robin are 3 ounces different.
Yeah.
I want to recount.
Who knows what's up with this?
I'm still at 7.
Still at 7.
All right. Bird names from folklore.
Okay.
What is the origin of the Vesper sparrow's unusual name?
Not a multiple choice for that?
It is a multiple choice.
Good.
A. Vesper is a mistranscription of vespiary, meaning wasp keeper. B. It often sings in the evening, the time of vespers. C. The birds were used in Catholic church services. D. Its plumage looks like a prayer shawl.
Oh, boy. Okay. The wasp one seems too specific to be true. If it's what was it? Folklore was the subcategory.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think wasp keeping is a big folklore thing. So I think it's probably either. What was the B was just it's time for vespers or something.
B sings in the evening, the time of the vespers.
I'm gonna say B.
You got it.
All right, that's a point for me. I'm going for it. I'm going for the hard one.
All right. Harder question. Halcyon days, in quotation marks, refers to a period of calm weather supposedly created by the Greek gods to allow Alcyone, Alcyone, time to raise her sister in a nest after she was transformed into a bird. Which birds carry Alcyone's name in many of their scientific names today? A. Robins, B. Pigeons, C. Kingfishers, or D. Swans?
Ooh, okay. I know that the swan's scientific name is Cygnus. So this is Greek, so it's probably not robins, right?
I don't know.
Because we know that
not
robins
allowed to help
aren't
you out
robins. Here. The other options were...
B. Pigeon, C. Kingfisher.
I don't know. I'm going to say kingfisher.
Yeah, you got it.
I got it?
Yeah.
All right.
I thought you were gonna say swans because you were on the cygnet thing, which is a name of the young of a swan.
All right. Tied up. 7-7. Going into what is potentially the last round. You went first, so if you do get it right, you have a chance to match.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. In which case, I feel like I just have to go for it.
I think probably, right?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Bird behavior, parentheses, courtship displays. Easier question. What is a lek? L-E-K. Is it A, a place where male birds gather to display for females? B, a special head feather used to impress mates? C, a gift given to a potential mate? Or D, a bird that fails to find a mate in a given year?
Ooh. All right. Don't know this one off the top of my head. Thinking B or D. I'm going to go with the feather on its head.
It is not that. It is a place where male birds gather to display for females.
A lek.
A lek, yeah.
All right. So here's the thing about going for this next one. If I get it right, then I only need one more point.
Mm-hmm.
If I get it wrong, then
you need
I
four
need
more
two
points.
rounds.
Yeah, that's true. And I'll let you know, it does have to do with leks.
There's no way.
It does.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It has to do with areas where males congregate.
The word lek is in the question.
Oh, I don't know jack about leks, as you guys know. But I feel like you're gonna... Maybe you won't get them right.
I've famously gotten many wrong this episode.
Yeah, we've both been on a roll in the last 3 rounds, though.
I know.
Yeah, I'm not confident of my lek knowledge. I'll hold off.
Okay.
Actually, I'll go for it.
Go for it. Okay. Here we go. Greater sage grouse are famous for their lek courtship displays. Which of the following elements does their display routine include? A, inflating special air sacs to make a booming noise. B, rapid stomping of their feet. C, circular display flight. Or D, all of the above.
Okay, so this is where it gets a little tricky now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know the grouses have those esophageal sacs where they can use to make a noise. But I also feel like they're pretty stompy birds. So it's either A or D. Do they do all of that, though? Do they stomp? And what was C?
Circular display flights.
They're not flightless. They're not a flightless bird. But they're primarily a grounded bird. I'll go with D.
It was A.
No!
Just A. Yep.
No! Alright, it's totally over for me.
Alright, so you're at 6. I'm at 7. If I get these, I win.
So true. Alright, birds and culture, birds on television.
Okay.
What friendly yellow avian has been a main character on the children's series Sesame Street for more than 50 years?
I believe that's Big Bird.
You don't want the multiple choice?
No, I don't.
Yeah, you're right. It's Big
Okay.
Bird. Which choice is Big Bird, though? So you have to A, B, C, or D.
I think it's probably D.
Oh my god, you got it right.
Was I right?
Yeah. Alright, I'm assuming you want to stop there?
No, I'm going.
Alright, Bert, one half of Sesame Street's odd couple, Bert and Ernie, raises birds in a special aviary as one of his primary hobbies. What kind of birds does Bert keep?
You think I know what kind of birds Bert keeps?
I don't know. I thought you were a Sesame Street kind of kid.
Oh, no.
There's a multiple choice, though.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have A, canaries, B, pigeons, C, chickens, or D, parakeets.
Wow, okay. First of all, R.I.P. Sesame Street. PBS got defunded. Sesame Street is no more. Kind of a big bummer.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Elmo's on LinkedIn looking for a job. That's like his LinkedIn profile. I believe
it's a sad state of affairs when Elmo needs to make a LinkedIn profile.
I know. It's really a bummer. But I believe Sesame Street is meant to reflect New York City. So I'm going to go with pigeons.
You got it.
I got it? Ooh, wow. What deductive reasoning by me. Honestly, one of the greatest performances we've ever seen. Yeah. Better than, I think, LeBron James coming back from 3-1 in the finals. I came back from -1 to 1. So.
Yeah, LeBron James didn't know half the trivia cards already, though, so it's whatever. But, yeah, dang. I'm just devastated.
Yeah, I understand. I have that effect on people. It was a good game, though.
It was a good game.
I quite enjoyed. I'd be willing to do this. Winner take all. I'm going to read you the harder question from this, but I'm not going to give you the multiple choice.
If I just get it outright.
If you just get it right, then you win.
All right.
You like that?
I think that's good.
Okay, the category is bird anatomy and physiology. Subcategory is baby birds. How do birds ensure that eggs laid on different days all hatch at the same time?
The mother bird cracks it open. No, I'm kidding. The mother bird will give more warmth to an egg laid later.
It's a good guess. The answer is that they do not start incubation until the whole clutch is laid.
Oh, good to know.
Which is kind of interesting, right?
Good to know. All right, well, my shot in the dark didn't work. Anyway.
Can't say I didn't give you a fair shot there.
I don't know about fair, but thanks for the Hail Mary there at the end. All right.
Well, how did you all do listening along?
Yeah, let us know on Instagram.
Let us know your score. We're going to put up a poll on our Instagram story where you can submit your number of points. Whoever scored the most points, we will, I don't know, repost it on Instagram or something.
All right, are we moving on to the closing call today?
So we stick with our quiz style, and we're going to end with our closing caw, where the score is 4-4. Okay, I'm going to start by giving Quiche a bird call.
Sure.
Here we go. I'll give you another option, too.
Sounds like a small bird. That is a pretty distinct call. I feel like something should come to mind, but nothing really is. Small bird. Call sounds familiar, but it's maybe not a bird that we're super duper familiar with. I'm gonna go with the eastern towhee.
Yeah, yes, you got it. The eastern
nice,
towhee.
Nice.
We were out probably a week ago or so at John Hines, and we kept hearing something that was kind of like had like a swoopy note and then like that. And so I was just like, oh, what is that? And it was the eastern towhee. So good remembering, good callback. 5-4 you right now, I believe.
Whew. All right, I'm glad I got that one right. It was like there was like a 3-minute pause that we're gonna cut out in editing, but I was like, I know this one. It's gonna come to me. It needs some time. Eastern towhee. There we go. All right.
God, it sounds like R2-D2.
So that's the song. Here's some calls.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Those are two sounds that do not sound similar to me. Well, it's a wide variety of things, which thinking a passerine, something small. This isn't like, I feel like iconic enough of a sound to be a bird that we have not like recently been like interacting with, seeing perhaps. So I think a bird probably that we saw recently. What have we seen? We went over the warbler, we went over the orioles. I don't think that this is a white-faced ibis. So I'm going to say it's either a black-throated blue warbler or one of the two orioles. So I'm going to go with the black-throated blue warbler.
Incorrect. I think that would have been a kind of a mean one to give you.
That would have been tough.
Given that we didn't actually hear it, but we did see it. It wasn't singing.
It was not singing at all. No.
This is actually the purple martin.
Oh.
Which we saw at Forsyth in the habitats.
Yeah. I should have thought a little harder about that.
The martin homes.
There are some like specific sounds that martins and swallows and those type of birds make. Speaking of which, I've been seeing a lot of chimney swifts flying around just from my apartment, which is kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, 5-4.
Yeah.
Heading into the final episode.
Very, very reminiscent of season 1, which didn't end super well for me. But Yeah, not exactly sure what we'll do or if we'll do anything different with the finale of the closing caw with our special guest. We'll stay tuned to find out.
Yeah. But thank you for listening to this episode. A bit of a different style. Instead of a big old main topic, we kind of did this quiz. Let us know what you think about it. Would love to know if you want more of these departure from our usual format.
Yeah, let us know if you enjoyed it. Let us know if you liked playing along.
Yeah.
It was a fun time for us.
It was. Like we said, we will be asking how you did and announcing a winner on Instagram. So please do follow us there at BirdsAreRealPod. Send us hoot topics. Send it to us quickly because we're almost at our last episode of the season. The email is birdsarereal.pod@gmail.com. Thank you as always for listening.
May you live long and prosper.
And you.